Now let's talk short term. How about property prices versus rent prices? Well, this is where it is a little bit tricky, and you have to really talk through the listings you consider buying and what they would rent for. This is when you need some expert help, which I can help you with. Property prices are still high here, and so if you're paying cash for a home, well, then you're in good shape when it comes to renting because you're going to be making money no matter what. So if you have cash, by all means, let's do this. Call me today and let's go find you a really nice home that you can get rented out quickly and start making money short term and long term. If you're getting a mortgage, well, it's a little tricky right now.
It's a little tricky.
Because we're used to seeing those really low interest rates. And right now they are quite a bit higher. And so my advice to you is make the biggest down payment you can so that your monthly payment is as low as it can be. And go ahead, get that renter in there. And you may not have the cash flow that you feel like you want for at least a year or two. But when the time comes and rates go down, you can refinance that house. And when you refinance the house and have a lower monthly payment, as rents continue to rise, your cash flow is going to increase. But in the meantime, you still have the long-term growth of that property value. Now, some of you have asked me if you should get an adjustable rate mortgage for your investment property. And absolutely, you should consider it. Adjustable rate mortgage is usually for 5, 7, or 10 years. It's at a fixed rate. And then at the end of that time period, they can adjust the rate to whatever they want it to be. So if you got it today, 7%, 7 years from now, they might raise it to 8%. But the idea is all the real estate experts and economic experts are telling us that a year from now, rates are going to go down and be somewhere near 5.5%. Historically, adjustable rate mortgages are cheaper and the interest rates are lower than a 30-year fixed. You should ask your lender about it and have them check into it and see which one is a better fit. But either way, you go ahead and you get the mortgage and you get the house now, and you may not have the cash flow you want right now, but 2 years from now, after you refinance, you'll make more money per month than you are right now. Should you buy a resale or should you go with new construction? What's it really like here in Oklahoma City, and what are these prices really telling us? Well, from what I'm seeing, if you want to buy an investment property for less than $200,000, prepare for it to need some work. Everything I've looked at under $200,000 is older and needs quite a bit of repairs. So when you're budgeting and you're buying a home for, say, $170,000 or $150,000, know that you are also going to replace all the carpet. You're going to have the whole thing painted. You're going to need a handyman to come in and do lots of repairs. You may be replacing appliances. Unless it's just tiny, it's going to need quite a bit of work. But when you're thinking, I only want to spend X amount of dollars, know that if it's under $200,000, we can find you a good rental property. But it's not going to be move-in ready. You're going to have to put some work into it before you put it on the rental market. Now, new construction is really interesting to me.
Really fascinating.
Because there are some builders, there are about 3 builders I know of that are building houses between $200,000 and $250,000, where you could get what we would consider a starter home for less than $250,000. It would come with a 1-year warranty and it would be new. And those homes tend to rent out rather quickly. And while it may be more than you thought you wanted to spend, just know you're going to save a bunch on maintenance those first few years. Where the older resale, that's a fixer-upper, may need quite a bit of work, these homes are ready to go. The day after closing, you put the rent sign in the yard and you get it going. Now, the last few years, because we've had a housing shortage, there are builders who don't allow investors to buy, and there are some that have a quota for how many investors can buy in a neighborhood.
Honestly, that's great.
because you don't want to buy a home in a neighborhood that's all renters, because that's not really going to help your property value much. But we do want to work with the salespeople for those builders, find out what the quota is and what homes are available for investors. And in those homes, again, they're going to have lower utilities, they're going to be energy efficient, which is a good incentive for your tenant, and you're going to have less maintenance, and they're going to be attractive move-in ready homes. So if you were planning to spend less than $200, maybe you go slightly higher and get a new construction home that you could rent out quickly. So either style. I want a cheap house that I'll fix up and then rent, or one that's super easy. I sign on the dotted line and give them the money, and the next day I start renting out my property. So let's talk strategy a little bit. As an investor, you do have an advantage over the first-time buyer. Basically, you have more money than they do. If you can pay cash for a property, that's ideal. But even if you don't, because you're putting at least 25% down, you have an advantage over those cash-strapped first-time buyers. So if we're in a seller's market and they're looking at multiple offers, your offer is going to be attractive simply because of the stability and the wealth that you have. A seller's going to have more confidence in your offer than maybe that sweet young first-time buyer. So there you have it. There is a vast array of opportunity for you waiting here in the Oklahoma City metropolitan area. So if you want to invest in Oklahoma real estate, give me a call and let's get started. Come back next week because I am going to introduce you to more of my Oklahoma friends, and I have a spring market update coming soon. In the meantime, like this video and subscribe to my channel so you're notified every time I post a new video. See you next time.